Okay, so today we're diving into something that's causing a lot of anger in Jamaica right now.
Yeah, a secret deal, a polluted river, and honestly, a whole lot of questions that need answers.
Yeah, like what happens when the agency that's supposed to protect the environment seems to be siding with the people polluting it?
Exactly. And that's the controversy that's going on with the Rio Cobre in Jamaica.
That's right. And to help us untangle all of this, we have joining us today a true expert on this topic.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So to get everyone up to speed, the key players here are the NRCA.
That's the Natural Resources Conservation Authority, the people in charge of protecting the environment.
Right, and then there's Trade Winds, Citrus Limited, which is a big company.
And they're the ones at the center of this controversy.
And of course, caught in the middle of all of this is the Rio Cobre itself in St. Catherine, Jamaica.
A river that a lot of communities depend on.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So our goal today is to really break down what happened with this secret settlement.
Right. And also try to understand all sides of the story because, like you said, there's a lot of different perspectives.
Exactly. And we also want to talk about what this whole situation means for environmental protection in Jamaica.
Because this goes way beyond just one incident.
Okay, so to set the scene, this all started back in December of 2023,
When Trade Winds Jamaica beverage plant had a pretty bad oil spill.
and it immediately impacted over 200 fisher folk and residents who live nearby.
And we're talking about their livelihoods being disrupted.
Yeah, their ability to make a living was taken away.
And an attorney named Marcus Goff, who represents the group Friends of Rio Cobre, has been really fighting for them to be heard.
But even with all this outcry, the National Environment and Planning Agency, or NEPA, claimed that the impact wasn't that bad,
Yeah, they even said that a full environmental assessment wasn't needed.
which already feels like two completely different stories being told.
It does, doesn't it?
And then things get even more confusing because instead of taking legal action,
The NRCA decides to make a secret deal with Trade Winds.
called a nolle prosequi, which basically means they dropped all the charges against them.
They even agreed not to help the public try and get justice against Trade Winds.
Oh, and just to make things even more suspicious, they signed a non-disclosure agreement.
So no one was supposed to talk about it.
Yeah, like they were trying to hide something.
Well, and the thing about that Millie Prosequi is it sets a really dangerous precedent.
How so?
Well, because it suggests that environmental harm can just be swept under the rug, especially if powerful people are involved.
Which is not a good look.
No, not at all. And the public was furious.
Oh yeah, the Jamaica Environment Trust, Friends of Rio Cobre, and even the opposition People's National Party all came out against it,
And Marcus Goff, the attorney we mentioned before, called it a sellout,
saying they put the company's interest above the people and the river,
which makes you wonder if the NRCA is really an independent watchdog.
or if they can be influenced by companies with a lot of money and power.
Exactly.
And all of this led to Weldon Medan resigning.
He was the NRCA board chairman who signed the agreement in the first place.
And he claims that he doesn't even remember the board approving it, which is pretty wild.
It is. And Minister Matthew Samuda, who's in charge of environmental affairs, even admitted that the non-disclosure agreement was a bad idea.
And said that the NEPA and NRCA shouldn't use them going forward.
But the damage is already done right.
It is, and rebuilding trust after something like this is really hard.
Yeah, and it's especially difficult when you have companies like Trade Winds who are such big employers in St. Catherine.
I mean, this whole thing put their reputation at risk.
So for them, this settlement was probably the best way to avoid a long legal battle.
And they could publicly say they're committed to fixing the environment.
Right. But it all seems shady because they're being so secretive about it.
Exactly, and this all comes back to the bigger issue of non-disclosure agreements in environmental cases.
Because they've caused controversy in Jamaica and around the world.
Yeah, like if everything is on the up and up, why all the secrecy?
Transparency is absolutely crucial for environmental protection.
Because without it, we can't be sure that people are being held accountable.
Right, and we can't learn from our mistakes if we don't know what they are.
So we end up with a secret settlement, a community that's suffering, and a feeling that the system is rigged in favor of the powerful.
And that's why this case is so important.
Because it raises big questions about how we can make environmental protection more transparent.
And how we can prevent these kinds of secret deals from happening again.
Because it's clear that protecting the environment means standing up to those in power.
And that's a challenge we all have to face together.
Absolutely. So this deep dive wasn't just about understanding one case.
It's about realizing that we all have a role to play in protecting our environment.
and demanding a system that's fair and transparent.
Because Jamaica's environment belongs to everyone.
So what can our listeners do to make sure that happens?
That's the question we all need to think about. What actions can we take to protect our environment?
Individually and collectively.
Because the future of Jamaica's environment depends on all of us.
And that's something worth fighting for.
It absolutely is.
Thanks for joining us today. This has been a really important conversation.
I agree. Thanks for having me.
And for our listeners, be sure to check out our show notes for more information on this topic.
And we encourage you to do your own research and get involved.
Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged.
And together, let's protect our planet.